Hey, everybody, John Harris here with my pal Billy Smith. And this is our Halloween edition of From the Cheap Seats. And there's a lot going on here in the studio and also down at Bill's Satellite Public John Studio End. So we're going to try and get through this pretty quickly for two reasons. One, I don't want to wallow in self pity too much, Bill, because we had an awful week. Awful. But if there's any consolation, Vegas had an awful week. Nobody had a good week. It was upset city last Sunday and Monday and Thursday, I guess, in the NFL. Last week was just upset the apple cart, and cars are running over them. So you got applesauce in the hallway, in the roadway. It's bad. But that being said, as my friend Billy likes to say, that being said, let's talk about real quickly our sponsor. Vineland Realty Corporation. My pal Dennis Ingraldi is down there at, I like to call them VRC, Vineland Realty Corporation. They're at 634 East Landis Avenue. I want to make sure I get all the information right for you. But they are at 634 East Landis Avenue in Vineland, New Jersey. Make sure you give them a quick call or pop in the office. They're glad to see you. That's at 856-690-9482, their phone number. Give them a call, whether it's business, residential, any real estate need you have. Give Dennis and his crew a call. Again, that's 856-690-9482, or go see them at 634 East Landis Avenue, Vineland, New Jersey. Tell them you heard about us from the Public John or from the Cheap Seats, and let them know that we recommend them highly, because whatever you need, even if they can't directly help you, they can find a resource to help you out as well for any of your real estate needs at the Vineland Realty Corporation. We thank Dennis for all his support and all of the Vineland Realty support, VRC, who I like to for all their support. Bill, couple quick sport notes, and then we'll get right straight to the NFL. Wallow in self-pity for about a minute and a half from last week, and then and make our picks for this week. Just to know that we are still in line. We're Vegas, actually up by about a couple of small percentage points. So we're still in the running, folks. We're not losing to Vegas. But I think in a couple of weeks you'll see us start to pull away. It's usually what happens. First off, if you're looking at the NBA, the big story right now is the Philadelphia 76ers and James Harden. The official report supposedly was Harden. It was suggested to him earlier in the week that they didn't want him on the trip. They wanted him to stay back and train. He showed up anyway to try to get on the flight to go to Milwaukee, even though he had been missing for 10 days. Not missing, just didn't show up. The Sixers, as supposedly nice guys, deemed the absences as being excused, but they weren't in advance. But was refused access to the team plane when it went to Milwaukee. So that is now still up in the air. Sixers almost pulled out a win. There were actually a couple questionable calls down the end. I did see the end of the game. Still looks like Giannis threw up a shot that hit nothing, caught it again, and then put it home for a basket. And that could be that 1 point difference. Sixers only lose by one. So they hung in tough. Couple of additions looked pretty good for them. But the Sixers do lose. They're back home, I believe, tonight. But the Harden saga is going to continue. That's the biggest story outside of playing in the NBA. Wembanyama, the first-round draft pick, had a nice game last night and helped the Spurs win down the end, and didn't have a bad game in his debut, except he got in foul trouble early. But he'll learn to get around that. That happens with rookies, especially rookie big men, a lot early. But he had a good finish last night, and it helped the Spurs to a win. World Series, of course. Rangers win in 11. Bottom of the 11th, a walk-off home run by Alois Garcia. It was tied in the ninth by Seager. So the Rangers hanging tough. They win 6-5 last night. That looks like it could shape up to be a pretty good series. At least the games themselves will be competitive. Big game today if Texas wins, going to Arizona being up 2-0. But then again, Philly was 2-0 going to Arizona, and look what happened. So anything can happen in the World Series. It looks like those look like two pretty evenly matched teams, different style of baseball, similar to the Phillies Arizona series. Arizona is going to be gritty, try to stay in the game with pitching, do what they can to score runs, and then and Texas did what the Phillies couldn't and got big hits at big times, and that's how they won the game last night. Any comment there, Bill, or any disagreement or anything?
No, you're right on. Like you said, I think it's going to be a good series. So I did win $160 last night. So
Well, there
that's
you go. The important parts are there, buddy.
I did four player parlay.
Woo! Oh,
And
four player, and they all came through.
yeah,
Woo!
yeah, it was 2+ bases from
Garcia.
Garcia, Seager, Marte, and Carroll.
Oh
And
man,
I turned it on just as Seager hit the home run. That's what
in the
won me
ninth.
the money.
Oh
Yeah,
man, sweet. Well, congratulations, winner dinner,
yeah,
winner,
and yeah,
farm
and I
baseball.
was and I was one off. If Walker would have hit because I hit it, I did a 3-player home run parlay. So if Walker
Woo!
would have hit one, that would have been $535.
They'd had people knocking on your door, going, "Hey, buddy, who are you paying to get this info?" Because someone would have been pretty suspicious. But congratulations, there's a guy out there ready that if Arizona wins the World Series, is going to win $1 million. He put on a big bet too. So way before the playoffs started, I think. So people are kind of watching that. So good for them. We're going to get right to the NFL. Like I said earlier, we had a tough week, but so did Vegas. The biggest upset was New England coming back and beating Buffalo last week. They had a lead. New England did, lost it, stayed close, and then Mac Jones took them down the field, and they won the game in the end. So you got to give it to New England. Just when you think they're the scrubs of the league, they come back and beat supposedly one of the best teams in the league, and it wasn't like they gave up when they could have. So they hung in there and they won the game. Last week's totals, Bill was 3-10 on picks out of 13 games, 1-12 on against the spread. Oh, and 6-7 on over under. I wasn't much better. I was 5-8 on the picks, 4-9 on on the spread, and 6-7 over under. So we were in that same ballpark. Our totals now, percentage wise and everything. Bill on his pick 64, 40, and 42. He is still at 60.3% on straight up picks. Still above 500. We're both swimming. Bill 52 and 49 with 3 pushes is at 51.4%. And over under, we're still a little under, but I think we gained a little bit. Bill, you might have gained on your percentage. You're 51, 55. No pushes on over under at 48%. So we could very well get you over 50% this week. My picks, 67 and 40, 66%, 54.6% is where I was at. I'm sorry, no, 66% is where I'm at there. Odds, I'm at 54.6%, 55 and 46 with 2 pushes. Over under, Bill's actually beat me pretty well so far. He's 3 ahead of me. I'm 48-56 with no pushes at 46.1%. Of course, Thursday night was the first game, Buffalo and it's a shame. I just saw them. They almost won the game, and Tampa Bay. Got to give it for Tampa Bay, still fighting, boy. They were fighting down the end and had a chance to win it. I really do think that they've got to address. Supposedly they were going to, and they never have addressed those Hail Mary interference calls. I mean, guys are getting mugged down there. They should have at least had a chance to catch the ball. One guy, he was getting hit by 2 guys inside the 5-yard line. They got literally tackled. And then it was Godwin, didn't have a chance either. He was wrapped up in the end zone, and he would have had a chance to catch the ball. So but that's not the only game it happens. It happens every time there's a Hail Mary. You see guys literally get tackled and beat up. And until they start making calls that are legit, I mean, they were definitely pass interference calls. And there'll be times that there'll be offensive pass interference calls on those. I think they got to start making the calls. And, worst case scenario is that would have been one play from 1 yard out untimed.
Yeah.
And in that case, that one was, to me, that was blatant, and that probably should have happened, but it didn't. Buffalo gets the win. However, we don't get the over under. We just miss it, literally by 1.5 points. We would have got the over under if they scored. We also lost the spread because Buffalo was picked by 8 at game time. And of course, it was 24-18, so it was only 6. But we did get the win on the pick. Bill, if you're ready, we can spin the big wheels and get this baby going.
Let's go.
All right. First game we'll talk about. I've made my picks already. So if you want to make yours now, I'll let you know what I did. That's probably the quickest way to do this for folks at home, because we want them to get on with their weekend and with their ability to watch these games. Philadelphia, Washington. It's a 43.5 over under. Eagles are picked by 7.
I'm going to take the Eagles here. Washington, Howell is the most sacked quarterback in the league, and he's just not getting any time. And I don't think it's going to get any easier this week. So I'll take the Eagles across the board and over 43.5.
Okay. I did the same. I did hesitate a little. I almost took Washington to cover. I actually had them here, but I crossed it out basically for the reason you just said. There's people out there thinking that Howell may get sacked against this Eagles D line like 10 times. Last week he was sacked like 6 or 7 times. And it's not just him. He's a little bit mobile. It's not just him. That offensive line is terrible. It's terrible. It's the Charles Barkley offensive line. It's bad. So I'm going to go with the Eagles too, even though 7 seems high to me against those two teams with a division. I'm going to do the same thing. Miami, New England. Spread is 9.5 for Miami to win by, and over under is now at 47.
Yeah, New England was impressive last week against Buffalo. But I still don't think they'll have the firepower to keep up with Miami. So I'm going to take Miami. Give the 9.5. We'll go over 47.
Okay. I'm taking Miami to win the game. I'm going under because I think New England's defense isn't too bad. And I think New England might cover. They're not going to win. But 9.5 seems like a big spread to me. It's a division game. And like you said, New England did look a lot better last week. And Miami has struggled offensively the last couple weeks. Not real bad, but not playing at the level that they were. I think they would have to play at the level they were to win by more than 9.5. So I'm going to take New England to cover, Miami to win the game. And I think it's going to be under. I think it could be I don't know, 24-20 game or something like that, which would make it just under that 47. Jacksonville, Pittsburgh. Jacksonville, Zay Jones is out, but Pittsburgh has 3 of their 4 secondary players out this week. Jacksonville's picked by 2, and the over-under is 41.
Yeah, I like Jacksonville here and give the 2. And I guess the over-under will go over.
Okay, that's exactly where I was. I should point out that we do have the one difference in the New England game on that, but that's just the spread. Minnesota, Green Bay. For some reason, and I double checked and triple checked and quadruple checked the last few days, Minnesota is picked by 1. Now I know it's in Lambeau, but I don't understand why. I'll be honest with you, I took Minnesota across the board with the over because the over-under is 41.5.
Yeah, I did the same thing. Minnesota played real well Monday night against the 49ers.
Yep.
Green Bay is just poo-pooing around. I don't know what's
Yeah. I don't know what they're doing. They're very inconsistent right now. I mean, you got to let Love play and play through like you do a lot of first year quarterbacks. He's not a rookie, but a lot of first year quarterbacks. And so he's going to take his lumps right now. You're right. I took Minnesota across the board with the over. Dallas and the Rams. Rams are still kind of banged up. Dallas picked by 6. Over unders 45.5.
I like Dallas to win the game here. But the Rams, I'll take the 6. I think it might be a field goal game, so I'm going to take the Rams and
Okay. You want the over or the under on 45.5?
the over.
Okay. I took Dallas across the board in the over. So we got a difference there, at least on the spread. So that's good. Jets, Giants. Jets are getting people back. They're getting Sauce Gardner back. I can't remember the other All-Pro DB that's back there. He's returning this week as well. And the Jets are picked by 3 against the Giants. The spread, or not the spread, the over-under is 35.5. Daniel Jones is out for the Giants.
Yeah, it's not a lot. I'm taking the Jets, given the 3. The over/under is pretty spot on, I think. I guess it's a coin flip. I don't see Giants really scoring much. I'm going to take the.
I took the under.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Is it? Okay. Oh, well. I thought we'd have a difference there. You know what? I'll change it to the over just for the heck of it, Bill. Maybe the Jets will score a few extra points. So I'll change it just for fun. Let's have some fun.
Okay.
It's easy for me to do because I don't lay out the actual cash like you do. But I took the over. Let's have some fun with it. 35.5 for any NFL game is kind of low. So Houston, Carolina. 3.5 is the spread for Houston. They're supposed to win it by that more than that or that much. 43.5 is the over under. I took Houston, but I took the under.
You took the under.
Yeah.
I was leaning the under, but I'll take the over.
Oh, okay. You sure? Don't let me talk you into anything. And you're
they do have Carolina's got Thielen, so I mean he might be able to keep him.
Yeah, on over under, he might actually be able to get you some points. Okay. Atlanta, Tennessee. Tannehill is out. Atlanta's picked by 3. It's in Tennessee. The over under is 35. They're not saying there's not going to be any points scored here. Wow.
Yeah, they're starting Will Levy at quarterback, Tennessee, so it could be a long day for him. So I'm going to go with Atlanta across the board, and I think Atlanta could score. See, I don't know. Tennessee defense is really pretty good, decent, but we're going
And
to go
so is
over anyway.
Atlanta's. Atlanta's
Yeah, we're going to
defense
go
is pretty good too.
I'm still going to go.
Yeah, I think 35.5 is too low. I mean, if it's 2017, you win your bet, So I went with over as well. Bill, this is going to be my upset pick because Vrabel did say that Willis could get some playing time, and he's had moments. So I think Levis is going to start probably, but it wouldn't surprise me if he stinks by halftime if you don't see Willis. And I think what's going to happen is Atlanta may, even though they have a great defense, they may have a problem adjusting to the difference in quarterback.
Maybe.
I don't know. I'm just playing a hunch there, but I'm going to take Tennessee.
I just don't see them starting a rookie quarterback and not have some growing pains. I don't think.
I know. I see your point. You're absolutely right. Like I said, this is more of a gut feeling and roll the dice. And the only reason I can roll the dice is I don't do what you do.
I
Yeah,
like when you go with your gut.
yeah. And when you got a gut like mine, you can't ignore it because it's very prominent. So you got to go with it. I'm gonna take Tennessee, but I am gonna take the over as well. Um, I took Tennessee across the board in an upset. New England and Indy, or New Orleans and Indy. I apologize. It's in Indy. New Orleans is picked by 1.5. I don't understand how. Me personally, they haven't shown me anything all season really. The over under is 43.5. So I guess I've already kind of told you which way I'm going. I took Indy across the board in an upset. It's a mild upset to me, but I did take the under. But
The under.
yeah, I don't know why, because Minshew could light it up. I think the
Yeah,
key
well, he
is
did
going to
against
be New
Cleveland's.
Orleans defense.
Yeah, he did it against Cleveland's top defense last week. So I'm taking
Yeah.
the Colts, but I'm taking the over.
Okay. Well, that's good. We got a little difference. Unless I change it, which if I do, I'll let you know, obviously, before the game. There's a chance I'll go over because he could light it up enough to make that difference. It's 43.5. Could be a 24-17 game or higher. But for now, I'm going to keep it at the under because I don't know how many points New Orleans will score. That's the thing. Seattle, Cleveland. It's in Seattle. Cleveland is without Watson. The point spread is now 4. It's a 37.5 over under. I think that's
Yeah, this one I was back and forth on. I know they don't have Watson, but PJ Walker isn't too
I was gonna say
shabby.
he's played pretty well, actually. He
So
really has.
I think the Seahawks may win, but I think it'll be less than 4. So I'll take the Seahawks. Browns to
Seahawks to
cover
win, Cleveland to cover,
and over.
and the over. I took Seattle across the board in the over, but yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if yours is actually the more accurate pick here. Let me mark that as a difference as well. Kansas City and Denver, 47 is now the over under. Chiefs are picked by 7. Denver has not beaten Kansas City in 16 straight times. I think it's going to be 17. And I think Kansas City's defensive line, especially now, I can't pronounce his name. It starts with an O, but now they got him back too to go along with Chris Jones. It's brutal. I think their D line is way impressive, and Denver's O line is, lack of a better word, not. So, I will say the Chiefs are going to be without Nick Bolton at least. He's on the IR at least 6 weeks. He's going to have surgery on that wrist. It was bad. It was as bad as it looked. He may have already actually had the surgery. Wish him well. He's a great player and really the heart and soul of that Chiefs defense. He's the guy that made the signal calls and everything else. So, but his replacement did pretty well last week. So I think it's going to be a pretty good game for the Chiefs defense. I'm going to pick them across the board with the over.
Yeah, I did the same thing. Kansas City's starting to come into their own offensively. That the rookie wide receiver Rice is starting to play better. They're trusting them, throwing them the ball more. And
Yeah. And now they got Hardman as a weapon.
yeah,
That helps too. I mean, is he Tyreek Hill? No. If he becomes the Hardman that he was before he left, that's fine. And he already made an impact last week. Plus, he returns kicks and punts.
I was going to say the special teams, especially.
Yeah.
It's a real plus.
Yeah. You're going with the over on that as well?
Yipper.
Okay. Cincinnati, San Francisco. I'm not going to lie to you. I have not picked this game yet. I'm going to have to, I guess, in the next few seconds. I am so back and forth on this because I think Cincinnati's starting to come out of their shell. San Francisco is banged up. They've lost 2 in a row now. Purdy is questionable. He was in concussion protocol, but they think he might clear in time to play. That was literally just before we went on. I got that off NFL Network. Trent Williams, the offensive lineman, who everybody thinks is the best one in the league, he's questionable. And of course, we know Deebo Samuels is still out. So the weapons, and I think McCaffrey's hobbling a little bit more than they're letting on too. He's playing, but yeah, he's I think he's got an ankle sprain that he's kind of nursing. So really, they have Ayuk and maybe another 1 or 2 marginal weapons. Cincinnati, I think, like I said, I think they're coming out of it a little bit, and I think it's almost a must-win for them because they've gotten back to 3-3. San Francisco is, I believe, 5-2 at this point.
Yes.
So it's in San Francisco. It's a 5-point spread for the Niners, 43.5 on the over under. The one thing I did pick was the over. I think it's either way, it's going to be over 43.5. I'll tell you which way I'm going to go. I'll do it right now. I'm going to take Cincinnati to win, but I'm going to take the Niners to cover. I think it could be a.
No, they're +5 Cincinnati, so you're taking the points.
Oh, yeah, you're right. What am I doing? You're right. If I'm taking Cincinnati, I'm taking.
If you want to give the points, go ahead and give the points.
No. Yeah, that's kind of hedging my bet anyway. So I'm going to take the Bengals. I think the Niners are kind of banged up, and I think it's a bigger game for Cincinnati because even if the Niners lose, I think they still lead the division and still have time to pull away. So
Yeah, I like Cincinnati only because they had the off week last week.
it's
But
true too. Yeah, they're coming back off
I
the
can't.
bye.
The Niners on a shorter week, and like you said with the injuries. Um, I originally had San Francisco to win and the Bengals to cover, um, but you know what? Just to make things interesting, I'll keep the 49ers, but I will take the Bengals to cover.
Wow.
I don't see San Francisco lose 3 in a row.
Okay. And you may be right about that, but all right. Niners to win, Bengals to cover. You want the over or the under?
Over, yes.
Over.
The over.
Yep, got it. Baltimore, Arizona. It is now up to 9.5 for Baltimore to give points to Arizona. It's 44.5 on the over under. To me, the question was the over under. Otherwise I took Baltimore across the board.
Yeah, I took Baltimore across the board also. 44.5. Arizona may get one of those, oh, by the way, late touchdowns.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take the over. I'm going to take the over.
44.5. If you take the over, I'll take the under.
Okay.
Yeah, why not? Because it could be 24-10 or even 27-10.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because even when Baltimore's playing well, they usually don't put up point numbers in the 30s.
Right.
So yeah, I'm going to go with the under on that just for fun here. And here's another one we're going to differ on. I think outside of one game, maybe we only differ on no, 2 games. Okay, we'll go into that in a minute. Get that out. Chicago Sunday night is Chicago and the Chargers. Fields is out for the Bears. Of course, they had the rookie backup, Badgett, who played well enough for the Bears to win last week. San Diego. So he did. I knew it.
Yeah, you did want to make.
Yep. Chargers are favored by 8.5. The point spread is 46.5. I took the Chargers to win. I took the Bears to cover, and I'm going under 46.5.
Hmm.
Just have some fun.
Yeah, I had the Chargers winning. I did the same thing with the Bears, but I think I'll lay the 8.5.
You're going to go ahead and okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
originally I was gonna take the 8.5, but we'll lay the 8.5,
All
and
right.
I'm gonna take the over.
Okay. Well, that's good. We got two differences in that game. That's a good one. And last, but I'm almost going to say least, Detroit is at home against Vegas. The point spread is 8 for Detroit to give. 46.5 is the over under. Vegas is terrible to me. Detroit laid an egg last week in Baltimore. I think Dan Campbell has probably chewed some people. I mean, outside of the fact that some butts could be sore from being chewed out by Dan Campbell, I don't know any serious injury to anybody for Detroit. I'm sure they're nicked up because it's football. I don't know if Garoppolo's back for Vegas or not. I think he is. I think he played last week. They're just not, as they say, they're just not, they're not good. I am taking Detroit. I'm taking the under, even though I'm taking them across the board. I don't see Vegas scoring very much.
Yeah, they're still not too bad. The Raiders offensively, they still got Adams, and they have the
You still got
Jacobs
Jacobs.
running back. So I'm taking Detroit across the board also, and I'm going to take the over.
Okay. There we go. And so we've got some differences either in the spread or the pick. We both took, no, we didn't. You took New England to win the game against Miami. Am I reading that right?
No,
No, I'm
no, I
not.
took Miami across the board.
You took who? Miami across the board, right? I don't know
Yeah,
why it's written wrong. I'm changing it as we speak. That makes no sense to me. Okay. Because I took Miami to win, New England to cover. That
right.
makes sense. You took Miami across the board. We both took the over. It's still a difference. We both took Jacksonville over Pittsburgh. All right. I'm just going to point out the difference games. Dallas and the Rams. You took Dallas to win, Rams to cover. I took Dallas to win and cover. Jets. We both took the Jets. Jets. The only difference is you took the over 35.5. Oh, no, you took the under. I took the
I
over.
under. You took
Yeah,
the
you
over.
took the under. I took the over. Houston, everything else down to Seattle and Cleveland. You took Seattle to win, Cleveland to cover. I took Seattle across the board. We both took the over 37.5. Cincinnati, San Francisco. You took Niners to win, Cincinnati to cover. I took Cincinnati across the board. We both took the over. Baltimore, Arizona. You took Baltimore. So did I, both across the board. The only difference is the over under. You took the over 44.5. I took the under. How bad is it? That's a 9.5 point spread, and we still took the favorite. Wow. I'm half tempted to change it to Arizona to cover, but for now I'll leave it, I guess. Other news on that front is what's his name? Oh, Kyler Murray has been deemed healthy, but is still inactive. So I wouldn't surprise me if they don't play him at all, and I look to trade him for picks or something. Problem is he's got a guaranteed contract, so I don't know if there's too many people are going to take him unless he'll renegotiate his contract. But that'll be an ongoing saga that we'll see. Or they may decide to play him because if he gets good enough, they can showcase him a little bit.
Yep.
Chicago and the Chargers. You took the over. I took the under. You took the Chargers across the board. I took the Chargers to win, Chicago to cover because it's an 8.5 point spread. and that's Sunday night. And Monday night, last but not least, the Howard Cosell game. Vegas and Detroit. 8-point spread. We both took Detroit across the board. I took the under. You're taking the over, right? On 46 and a half? Okay.
Yep.
That is it. So we do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games where there's at least some kind of a difference, whether it's pick, point spread, or over under. So 8 out of the 16. There are no buys this week, which I found unusual. But I think they probably want to get back on track this week, because next week there's a game in Frankfurt, Germany involving the Chiefs. And then the week after that, there's another game in Frankfurt, Germany. So they probably wanted to get back on track this week a little bit with the schedule and go from there. I don't know. I didn't look, but I would imagine some type of bye week schedule will start again next week. So yeah, next week you'll have some early morning games, and of course there's Thursday night as well. But there we have it, 8 games difference. We are both right in line with Vegas. So if you stick with us, this is probably one of the weeks when we could start to pull away, I think. Games are fairly close this season. I think there's a lot more parity in the NFL. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I guess competition-wise, it's a good thing. It might not even be a bad thing for wagering, because, everybody's got a shot. There's not going to be one outlandish blowout very often that you can predict. 1 or 2 a week, maybe, which is a lot more than I would say the 3 or 4 we used to have. So other than that, hockey's got some great games going. NHL is up and going. So keep an eye on that, folks. It's been a lot of fun to see some of the games already. Vegas looks good again. A lot of people think Vegas is going to win the whole thing again. And though he probably doesn't see it or hear from us or know of us, we do wish Barry Melrose well. I always liked watching ESPN when Barry Melrose was going to be on talking about hockey. He's entertaining. He was knowledgeable. And he's always just fun to watch. One of the last guys that pulled off a mullet, still does to this day. Loved all camera when you could see him sitting in a finely tailored suit, smoking a big old stogie with the mullet, just chilling. I mean, the guy is he's a character, but he's very knowledgeable, knows his stuff. And you could learn more from listening to Barry Melrose do 5 minutes on hockey on ESPN than maybe a lot of other people. So maybe somehow, some way this gets to you, but if not, maybe in the karma world or in the spiritual world, we wish you good luck, Mr. Melrose, in fighting Parkinson's. And thank you for all you've done to educate us and enlighten us and entertain us about hockey, especially the NHL.
Absolutely.
Anything else, Bill, that you can think of for this week?
The MLS playoffs start today, and go Union.
I'll back you on the Go Union. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
And I will admit that I'm now somewhat casually a bit of a fan for the MLS and soccer or football in general. But I started that last season. Had nothing to do with Lionel Messi, though I think that is really going to be a huge shot in the arm for the MLS. It has been already. I was starting to at least show a passing interest in it before. So I think the MLS could take off a little bit more, especially when you get a full season of Messi under your belt starting next season. But yeah, go Union. What I will say about Philly is, since they've come in the league and finally got their feet planted, they seem to be consistently in the hunt for playoffs or postseason every year. They're competitive and they do what it takes, and they're a team. You don't have a couple of superstars out there. You got some good players, but they play like a team. And I give the organization credit. and the team credit for staying competitive in their league. I mean, it's great. And they're starting to get some love from Philly, I think, and that's great. Their
Yeah,
their field sells
they're
out.
one.
It's
Yeah,
just awesome.
they're one of the teams that build within their own homegrown players. They don't spend a lot of money, which they're gonna most likely lose their best defender next year because they don't want to pay a defensive back big bucks. Which
It's hard to do,
uh,
especially when you're on a budget situation, which you got to be in the MLS as well. Um, so I give them credit for always staying competitive, and they're fun to watch. To me, I was actually heartbroken when they lost the championship
uh,
game. I guess it was LA, because it
yeah,
looked like they had a shot to win it. Came from behind, tied the score, and it just I don't want to say it fell apart, but it was just an unfortunate goal late by LA. And um, and you're like, oh man. And that's when I realized, I kind of like this a little bit.
yeah,
So I will say that though my interest may be passing in some cases, it's not as fervent, it's not as strong as yours, or a lot of other football folks. I do have an interest in it, and you said you were going to get me to come around, and I think slowly but surely I am starting to get there, pal.
yeah.
I'm getting to the point where if there's nothing else going on and I'm around the house, I don't mind. I actually look to see, is there a game on, and I'll turn it on. Not just a Philly game, but Philly would be my choice to watch. But I've turned on Apple TV to watch it. A couple games have come through there, and Fox has had them on, I think. Of course, ESPN has them on, and sometimes it's not just MLS. I'll turn on. Um, I used to watch. You for some reason, don't know why, but Man U versus Man City, I always thought was a big
Yeah,
rivalry.
the Premier League. Yeah, yeah.
Premier League, I'd turn that on. So, uh, slowly but surely, pal, I'm coming around. I think a little bit.
There
It's
you
interesting,
go.
but it's
Yeah,
interesting. I do
it's
like it.
definitely better than back in the older days. I mean, I even coached, I played, I coached, and I really never watched it.
Yeah,
It just
isn't that
it didn't
weird?
interest me. And but the last, I guess, 7, 8 years, uh, it's fun to watch now because they're not
Yeah,
just all defensively.
yeah, exactly. It's a lot of fun to
It's
watch.
changed
So,
some. Yeah,
and hey, true football is what I'll call it, or soccer. Talk about athletes, man. Them guys are in constant motion. They've
yeah,
got to be in shape, and they're running around like crazy. And that's just the game. They're doing a lot more in well, we would call it practice. They call it training.
hmm
Um, it's physically demanding sport as far as being able to run, and it's physical. It's got some physical attributes to it as far as every once in a while there's a tackle or hit. Tackle
hmm
meaning a different kind of tackle than football, but marking people and stuff. Listen to that. I got a soccer term in, buddy.
There
Mark,
you go, Mark.
mark the guy. Come on, how come nobody's marking that guy? And of course, if you don't watch it, you're thinking, why would he have a magic marker? Why has he got it? No, mark him. Come on. It's bad when I'm over here looking. How come that guy's not marked? What the hell? I'm like, uh-oh. I caught myself laughing. Did I actually just say that? So I know it's coming, buddy, slowly but surely. But a lot of fun. And so thanks for the union update. And don't be afraid to keep us updated on that. Other than that, Bill, I think it's time for us to get out of here. Enjoy the games, everybody. Um, going to be a pretty interesting week. And even though it's only week 8, you're going to start to see, I think, some of those teams step up that are going to want to go places in a few more weeks. And you're going to see other teams that we thought, hey, maybe they're doing something, start to drift away,
Yeah.
with some surprises, of course, in the NFL, as there always are.
And you got the trade deadline Tuesday, so
That's true.
we'll see.
Tuesday's
We'll
the
see what
trading
happens.
deadline. A lot of people think the Eagles aren't done. They just picked up another all-pro running back
Yeah,
in Philly. Not running back, D-back. I'm
feedback.
like,
Yeah.
I got to give Howie Roseman credit. He tries. That guy's
hmm
out there. He's not the only one, but he's out there trying to see what he can do. And he's trying to keep up with the Jones boys.
Yeah, the biggest one is
Season's
Derrick
hard.
Henry. See where Derrick Henry is, and right now they're saying Baltimore has the inside track on him.
Wow,
What
that I think that could put. Well, I think it would put Baltimore over the hump as far as their division's concerned, and it's going to bump him up a bit if he's healthy because he's he's a beast. He's still a
happens?
beast. I mean, he's the reason Tennessee has a shot every week.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, he is the reason. So, and he's the reason I took him in an upset pick this week. He's one of the reasons. I think if he can
There you
run
go.
against Atlanta, I think it could be a good game. So for my pal Bill and the spirit of Vince Lombardi in his pajamas, we're going to say thanks for watching, everybody. Enjoy the games and have a great week.
See you, folks.